will be ceremonial speeches, reading out names and clanging of bells of nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives, unfortunately, on the 11th of September 2001. Tell me about how time flies, and that's exactly how it's been for many people. You know, the world changed completely in ways that you cannot imagine. But today in Nigeria's history is D-Day. Millions of Nigerians around the length and breadth of the country are following the lead judge of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, Justice Mohammed Garba, as he reads the Presidential Election Petition judgment. And that's going to be our first story on the Big Three. Then we'll cross over to another waiting game, this time at the cargo section of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, where hundreds of Nigerians have been expected from South Africa. I did see clips earlier from the Oliver Tambo International Airport in Johannesburg, and we're waiting for them. Correspondent Joy Kaliu is on standby there. And then finally, the waiting is over for members of the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Philip Nweli tells us deliberations are continuing. I think they're on break now. Members of the President's Cabinet meeting for the first time since swearing in on the 29th of May. And then on the glass ceiling, we'll be revisiting the topic: whose responsibility is it to handle domestic chores, the man or the woman? And then we'll have a big discussion on the big hard fact, which is the fallout of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal ruling. By then, the entire judgment will be out, and we'll have Judges Mark Nobles and political editor join the conversation until from 5 p.m. So at the end of that, we'll then have the news, and then I beg to differ. But glad you just be going head to head on that one. So fasten your seatbelt, and we are ready for a big show.
This is the Big Three.
The Big Three on Hard Facts
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
All right, so here we go. Philip Nweli, I've been able to smuggle him out of the State House in Abuja, where the Federal Executive Council is meeting. And I'm going to use one stone to kill two birds. Hello, Philip.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Philip, State House correspondent as well as head of news Nigeria Info in Abuja. And it's been a busy day for folks in Abuja. I can imagine, Philip.
Yes, it is. It is. Beginning from the tribunal judgment and the first Federal Executive Council meeting.
Yes, which is we go ahead.
Yeah, we were a bit skeptical. We were just worried that the FEC meeting will not hold. Only for us to arrive here today to see the cabinet members arrive at about 11 o'clock this morning. The meeting started at exactly 11 a.m. and currently they are on a 1-hour break. Before the break, they took briefings from the Ministry of Budget and National Planning.
Right.
And then after they return from the break, they will be considering the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper 2019 to 2021. This document is a must. It must be approved by FEC before the budget will be pieced together.
Right.
The MTEF, helps the government to maintain aggregate fiscal discipline, allocate resources in line with government priorities, and above all, to promote the efficient delivery of services. But before the meeting began this morning, the president addressed, the new ministers who were present. Some of them were at the tribunal. They're still at the tribunal now.
Right.
So he charged them to maintain teamwork, saying that, they must maintain communication and that the task ahead and it's great. Recalling that 3 weeks ago they took their oath of office
and they were
exactly in that council chambers, and that he wants them to maintain that oath. He's saying that his administration is focused and that they must remain focused and selfless in service to provide security, safety, and prosperity of Nigerians. These are the charge he gave them, and he's saying he's committed to that.
I'm sure, Philip, in your many years as a journalist, you've never had this coincidence where you have a presidential election petition tribunal judgment being read on the day of the Federal Executive Council, the festival.
Honestly,
so
yes, honestly, I've not. Because of the judgment, there were speculations that the tribunal will give their verdict on Friday. Some others said Thursday. So I never imagined that they would fix the judgment for Wednesday because a lot of persons were anticipating this FEC meeting to hold.
Right.
But here we are. The judgment is. I think it's one thing. The administration is trying to, show that there is separation of power in as much as the tribunal sitting is holding on. They are also having their own business here. Although there's some major, ministers are not here. I think those ones are not really too necessary because what they are considering now is the budget and then some other things which we don't know now. Usually they don't give us the agenda until after the meeting, then they will now brief us and tell us, what transpired at the FEC meeting.
I've seen a number of members of the cabinet at the petition tribunal, and looking at their faces, I was wondering whether there's any anxiety with the ones at the State House, or even any sign that they are a bit anxious about whatever the judgment will be in their favor.
Well, I don't think there will be, because some of the key members there, you see the chief of staff to the president, Fashola Ngige, Attorney General of the Federation, what's his name, Festus Keyamo and Co, Oshomole. Well, the thing is, those ones, I don't think their attention is needed here. Even if there is any tension or apprehension, they wouldn't want to show it. I believe the judges have independence, so to say. Right. Nobody really knows, but from the way it is going so far, from the counts that have been struck out and all, I can see that there are signs that, it will be positive, but we don't know yet until the judge gives the final verdict.
All right, Philip, before I let you go, something very important also too. People have looked at the Federal Executive Council as a way to show how the administration is going to move forward. And, previous during the previous administration, still the same Buhari's administration in 2015, people had looked back and said he was characterized as being a bit too slow in the way decisions were taken. And when you look at the first meeting of the Federal Executive Council, coming several days, over 100 days after after the president was sworn in. Are there signs to show whether we can predict things will move quickly or will still be the same business as usual?
Well, it's still too early to call because, he is emphasizing that, there is work to be done and that 4 years is not a long time. That's why, the meeting did not hold for the past 2 weeks. This is the third week now from the day they were sworn in. And the